How's the stash?
Glorious.
That's what I'm talking about.
Live from downtown Nashville, Tennessee.
This is StacheCast. Let's go.
Welcome to our ridiculous sports show.
Hello, everyone.
It's a frat party at a golf course.
That was one hell of an intro. I enjoyed every minute of that.
Come on, do you even want to win?
He's like running into a 12-story building.
You want to talk about a whooping on national television?
I'm not playing for the next 2 hours. Bring me some chicken.
StacheCast, baby.
This is StacheCast. Let's go. StacheCast is presented by Nashville Stash from right downtown Nashville, Tennessee. As always, I am proudly joined by the Professor Alex Alper from Los Angeles, California. And lives in Cleveland now, officially got it in his house, but he's joining us from New York City right after the Guardians putting a whooping on the Yankees. I hope, maybe not. We'll see. We'll have to find out. But Jared Jones is joining us. Thank you for being here, my man. And the class of the cast, my new wife, Kay Mars, is here. We have officially made the change from K-Love to Kay Mars. So
Hey, Mars,
get used to it. Get used to it. JJ, we're stoked to have you back. Last time we talked a lot about hockey, getting kind of caught up on what's been going on with hockey and everything like that. We touched a little bit on NBA, but I need to let everybody know I was blessed to get to see you this last weekend. I got to see my guy. It's been a few months. He wasn't able to be at the wedding, as you guys know. Leighton was arriving. Spring training was upon us. It was better for him to be at home taking care of his family, which he did a great job of doing so. They got their house sold. They are officially in Cleveland.
We're Clevelanders,
in the house now.
We're
Tell
in
me
it.
about it.
We're
Do you
in it.
say you're Guardians now, or that you're Clevelanders? How does that work out?
There's this
Indians?
anybody that comes to Cleveland, right outside Progressive Field on the main drag, there's this bar called the Clevelander. It's a shithole bar, and I feel like that's very fitting for what I should describe as what I am now.
You're a Clevelander, officially a
Shouldn't
Clevelander.
say it's shithole. It's a dive bar, and right there on the drag.
Well, hey, but you're in a suburb, yeah. You're not right
Sponsor
there
us.
down.
Yeah,
you're
we're on
not
the
downtown.
suburb. Cleveland's got a lot of good living and out in the suburbs. Downtown is hit or miss, but yeah, we're out in the west side, not too far from the airport, so I can jet home when we land. It'll be good.
They really like, hey man, I bet you I can tell you where you got them shoes.
Oh, the New Orleans
a-
special, they love it.
Yeah, they're big fans. So, but glad to hear that you guys are settled, getting little baby girl settled at home. I know Haley has got to be stoked to have a place to call home, be settled, to know that that's home base. There's not going to be any flip flopping from coasts and stuff like that. So I know that she's happy about that. But I got to see you in Boston. So the Guardians are traveling to Boston to play the Red Sox. My dad was in town for work, so I just zipped up to Boston to meet him. And JJ was able to put together an evening that my dad and I will never forget. So we walk out. We come into the stadium, and it's
First time, right? You've never been.
My first time at Fenway. I've never even been to Boston. So, we walk around the stadium. There's nobody around. They're still setting up the stands. Like there's not a soul around. We walk up, we get our passes, and we go into the stadium. And the guys are super nice at the gate. They're like, "Yeah, come on in. Just right down here, take a left, go down to the field. The guy will buzz you in. You're good." I'm just like, seems a little bit casual for Fenway. I was expecting it to be like Fort Knox. They're not. They're just like, yeah, cool, go ahead. Like they know that if you've got that pass that somebody gave it to you, like they know that you're not like some crazy person that's going to do something weird. So whatever, they're just like, go ahead. We walk in and I just kind of look around at my dad and I'm like, we're in the concourse by ourselves. I'm just like looking around. I'm like, dude, we're in Fenway Park, like by ourselves right now. This is crazy. So we kind of make a left and opens up and bam, there it is. You're staring up. There's the monster. There's Fenway Park, and you immediately see all of this historical flashbacks of all these games and all these games that you watched as it growing up that happened on this field and all the stories that are happening. And, we walk right down, the guy buzzes us in. Next thing you know, we're standing on the field. And the only people that are on the field is the Red Sox that are warming up, getting ready for BP. And Carlos Baerga is chatting up Kevin Youkilis right next to the hitting screen. They're just standing there 5 feet away from me, just having a normal conversation like old buddies would. And I'm just sitting there having this surreal moment, this pinch me moment, because my dad and I are standing in, we've stepped on 1,000 baseball fields over my life. And this is the first one that we stood on together. Like, that was a major league field, but not only was it a major league field, it was Fenway Park. So it's obviously one of the most historic places, in baseball. And
got that natural soundtrack in the background.
You hear that sound. Yeah, it's crazy. And so that was awesome. We got to see him. We got to watch him hit BP. We got to hang out. JJ came down. We got to talk to him. A couple of the guys that we know that work with the team. Paul, shout out to Paul. And he's an amazing human. Always funny. Love to talk to Paul. He's always got a funny story. Of
what does Paul do?
Paul is he's head of security. So he is.
Don't fuck with Paul.
No, you do not. You don't mess with Paul. Paul's got eyes and ears in places that you wouldn't think that any person could or should, and he knows all. It's funny for a mortal, he's the closest to omnipotent that I've ever met. So it's a shout out to Paul for being great at his job. But he also has a lot of stories because the kind of the kooks and the crazies that run around, he's got to deal with those. So like when I first get into Boston, for example, like the bottle of bourbon that I got JJ for the wedding and his other wedding present, I still hadn't got to him. So I'm trying to get it to him. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to check it in the bag. When we get to Boston, I'll meet up with him. I'll give it to him. So it just kind of worked out that the best time for me to drop this off was before bus call on Friday before the game. As soon as I land, Dad picks me up in the rental car and we zip over to the hotel. JJ's like, yeah, the big yellow bus. You can't miss it. It's right here on the street. And as soon as you pull up to the hotel, you can clearly see that.
It's like a neon yellow.
Yeah, it's like a big, bright yellow bus. I'm like, okay, clearly that's it. Not only that, there's this 6'8", like bald guy named Paul who's standing next to the bus. Who I recognize. I'm like, oh, there's Paul. This has got to be the right place, So we pull in and to give JJ his stuff. And I notice there's like 5 or 6 like grown-ups, like grown men that are standing at the edge of the bus, like where there's like, it's kind of roped off, kind of, where there's cones. I can't remember if it was roped off or if they're just cones or whatever, but there's clearly a barrier there. And they're standing there. How long do they stand there, JJ?
Oh, they're there all day. So if it's like a 7:00 game, they don't know when bus times are. So they'll get there anywhere from 10 a.m. to noon, and they just stand there the entire time. The other thing they do, they'll get there early too, because they know guys will go get coffee. So stand there waiting for a dude to get coffee and then chase them. They're nuts. They're there all day.
So you guys are talking about
home at 11:30, and I had a guy there chasing one of our players for a baseball autograph. I'm like, this is
these are autograph seekers, right? They turn around and sell these things, right?
There's not only that, but there's this group of kids. I call them kids. They're just, they're in their 20s, and they've got booklets of paper with baseball cards, different pictures, some of them are blank, and they're looking at who's in batting practice, and they're like flipping cards and stuff. And JJ's told a story about the guy like that comes every night wearing a different team's like outfit. Like he shows up and goes to the opposing team's batting practice wearing their gear, like he's a fan of theirs, to get them to sign his stuff. But he shows up every night.
So the young kid that was standing by you who had a Cleveland shirt on, I said, Paul, man, this guy's an autograph seeker. Who the hell left him BP passes? He said, oh, interesting. You asked him about that. He said, I asked security the same thing. So a few of the security guards around Fenway are college interns. He said it's his roommate. So I found out that he leaves him BP passes every single day, and he'll just change his shirt and try to get the autographs from the opposing team. That's how he makes an income. I was like, so you're telling me that an employee is leaving a BP pass? This guy can come with this booklet in a Cleveland shirt, and then tomorrow it'll be a New York shirt,
right?
What to make money? He's like, yep. And there's not a damn thing I can do about it until he like crosses the line. And I was like, fantastic.
Wow. And when you made the joke, you kind of halfway made the joke. Yeah, as soon as we get to New York, there'll be somebody at the hotel waiting on us.
Oh, there was. No joke. 15 of them.
And it's like, how do they know where you're going to be? Do they know because you stay in the same hotels every time?
So for the most part in the city, all the teams stay between like 1 or 2 hotels. And so they're just taking a gamble at that.
Kind of like in the hotel in Boston, like at one time, like You guys are there. The second day that you're there, the
Panthers came in.
The Panthers are there, and then when you guys leave, the Sixers move in.
Yeah, 76ers came in.
Yeah, so it's like all of you, like all of these teams are rotating through these same probably 50 room blocks that you
That's
that
probably an
they
autograph
have.
seeker's dream. It's probably like, all right, I got to load up with 500 pages with 3 different teams. Like, let's go. This is money making
Right.
time.
Yeah, for sure. Stand at that hotel door. You no telling who you get. Considering that they said Juju's living.
Yeah,
in
he was
that
out there
hotel room
one
too.
day.
Yeah, so like, give me a break. Like, me and Chris were talking about it. And you're like, sometimes I sit back and I wonder. I'm like, how do these people meet? You know, it's like these people are friends, but you know, other than like maybe they play each other or maybe, but it's like different sports. Like, how did that guy meet that guy, and how are they friends? And then you sit back and you're like, oh well, shit. Well, they probably came into the same hotel at the same time, playing in Boston, and so was living in the the condos above it. There's a lot of different ways that that these people cross paths that I guess us peasants aren't aware of, that it could happen that way. But I mean, it happens a lot more frequently than you would think, huh?
So New York, we're in New York right now, and the Met Gala just happened yesterday.
You
so
looked
Paul's
great,
in the
by the
elevator
way.
with Serena Williams.
Yeah,
yeah.
your spandex khakis were on point.
They
Wow.
missed. They missed
Wow,
the invite
wow.
list.
Spandex
on the-
khakis and plaid with a vest, maybe.
He was on the elevator with Serena Williams. I was in the elevator with Usher. He's not a celebrity, maybe 20 years ago. But anyhow, we're standing by the buses, and JJ
Usher's
Watt
a
walks out.
celebrity.
Not
He's
anymore.
100% a celebrity.
Came and gone, man. That thing's done.
If I saw Usher, I'd be like, "Yo, that's fucking Usher, dude. That would be
He
sick."
has a residence.
So the
in
autograph
Vegas.
seeker there with the guard for us, right? And JJ Watt walks out, and he's like on the phone, and these guys turn, and after they realize who it is, they go sprinting down. They're bothering, blah blah blah. And so like Paul and I are laughing. They're like, "Hey, all the guys got a free ride because they're dicking with him at the coffee shop."
Right.
Then they must have got. So they come back and turn around, and he walks up. He's like, "Hey, is there a team here?" And he's like, "Oh, what team?" We're like, "Oh, it's Cleveland." He was like, "Oh, okay." And he like had questions. It was funny to see a football guy that has like a high stature be like interested in what the
What you
baseball
guys-
team.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's one of those weird things. But yeah, they boogied off to go chase him for 10 minutes.
Shout out to JJ Watt, who just
Yes.
bought a minor interest, a minor ownership stake of Burnley, who just left the Champions League to play in the Premier League next year. So him and his wife, who is a professional soccer player, that is there. He's getting back into football, but he's going to be a minority owner of a Premier League
And get
soccer
in at Premier League price or Champions League price.
team.
It's about
I
a
think
$1 billion
he got in.
difference there.
Yeah, I think he got in probably at a Champions League price.
Good for
and then
him.
A couple months later, they make the Premier League. So,
Hey, that's good.
Awesome.
All about timing, right?
yep.
Okay, so these clowns are always hawking you guys for autographs and this and that.
In every city, not the same
That's
people,
crazy. That's crazy.
but like
All right.
in every city.
Yeah, it's crazy. So my second question is this. You're in a lot more baseball stadiums than I am, but here's something that's interesting to me. What's the deal? Like there's an argument, and we can have this conversation as well about whether grown men should wear jerseys or not. And how you feel about that. We can have that. That's conversation A. Conversation B. What's the deal with people wearing jerseys of other teams at a sporting event that doesn't include that team? Like the Guardians and the Red Sox are playing, and I got a guy in a Yankees jersey. There's a Guardians in a Red Sox game, and I got a guy in a Packers jersey. There's a guy in a hoodie with a Heat jersey. Like, what are we doing here?
Which
Like,
argument
is
do you attack
that
right
a free?
here
Is that
think
a
it's just- I
common
think it's
thing in
just two
sports?
arguments. I think it's 2 arguments.
Okay,
Oh, for sure. Where are we going? A or B?
yeah, we got to do both. There's two, A and B.
Let's go A. So
Let's
there's
start with A. Jerseys. Are grown men wearing jerseys or no?
a former player of ours, and I'll name drop him. He's with Pirates now. Austin Hedges used to say, "Hey, if you wear another grown man's jersey, he comes up to you and says he wants to fuck you. That's the only caveat is you have to let him fuck you because you're saying like you're on your knees and you cherish this human being." And I thought that was the funniest thing. But and for the most part, like I'll be honest, it's kind of like a little cringeworthy until I see like in New York right now, Derek Jeter jersey. I got no issue with that. You like the legends, it's the call it the flavor of the month jerseys, and I'm like, All right.
Okay.
Rock on.
I'm going to add my 2 cents on this to piggyback on what you. Here's where I stand on it. If he is still playing baseball or basketball or hockey or whatever, if he's still playing right now, can't do it. It's a no. It's a hard pass. You can't wear it. Keep it, buy it, put it up in the house, frame it, whatever you want to do. If you want to go get it autographed, if you want to take it to the game, try to get it autographed, do you, boo? But we're not wearing the jersey of the guy that's on the court because there's a chance that you might encounter him in the jersey, and if that happens, then you know what Jared just said, and it's going to get uncomfortable real quick. So if he's still playing, no jersey. But if he's done playing, and we're talking about any play, I don't segregate it between Hall of Famers and non. Like if your favorite player was, I don't know,
Tony Gwynn,
King Griffey Jr., Larry Bird. There's a ton of them.
I've got it. So I've got 2 jerseys. The 2 jerseys I have are Ozzie Smith and King Griffey Jr.
Hall of Famer.
Both Hall of Famers, both not playing anymore. I also don't wear them. But when I go to St. Louis in June, you bet your sweet ass that I'm going to have that baby blue Ozzie Smith jersey on.
Perfect timing.
And it ain't no doubt about it. But he ain't playing anymore. And so there's no
walking off the field and try to fuck you.
So,
what you're saying?
And I guess if he does catch me, I think I mean, what am I going to do? That dude could do backflips and he beat up Will Clark. Like he'll hold me down and fuck me, and there's nothing I can do about it. So hell, I'm just wearing the jersey and I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. And then we'll just see what happens.
I think Caleb might have, or K Mars, apology, might have something to say about that. But yep.
Well, maybe she'll help me out and fend him off. But hell, I mean, if it's 2-on-1, I think we can take him.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
I agree with you both 100%. If you are an adult man, you cannot wear another adult man's name on your back if that man is still playing in the game. You just can't do it. And I agree. If that person is retired or a Hall of Famer or like definitely if it's old school, yeah, do it. Hell yeah. Go retro. I'm all for it. However, I think it is okay to wear a jersey if there is no name on the back.
Okay, fair. Absolutely.
And then I'm going to throw another wrench into this. What are your thoughts on, and I wouldn't do this, what are your thoughts on putting your own name on the back of the jersey?
Now that's cringeworthy because that's like the guy, that's like the guy who picks Bohemian Rhapsody to do at karaoke. Like it looks cool on paper. You think it's cool. Your buddies are going to hype you up to do it. But once you do it, you're like, I shouldn't have done it. And
True.
It's too long. It's too much. Just like, I wish I could give it back. I wish I could undo this, and I can't. Now you're at the ball game with, Big Steve on the back of your, on the back of your jersey. Everybody's 14 rows back. It's like, hey, Big Steve, you just got that guy that's yelling. So it's just a whole thing. I think you shouldn't get creative with the back of the jersey or the front of the jersey. You shouldn't bedazzle anything. You should just buy it as it is. And if you like it on the shelf, you should buy it. And that's how you should wear it.
The only caveats I'll throw at you there is if you're like the team super fan, like the Red Hot Chili Pepper Man at the Titans game, like you're too far gone. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
On there. Or the guys that put like 69 on the back of the jersey and put like, I like butt stuff, and the guy's like 400 pounds. You know what? God bless you.
I mean, if it's entertaining,
I like the big fat guy that's got the arrow that points up and down, and in the middle it says 2-seater. I like that. But hey, all right.
Hold on.
Wait, yeah, I gotta hear.
I want to know what Kristen,
Mars.
Yeah,
I gotta know what Kristen thinks.
My turn. A few things. One, and this is really because I'm not a huge fan of, guys wearing jerseys specifically. I like for baseball. It's like something about baseball and hockey. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if they look nice. They don't look like, I don't know, cringeworthy to me. But for some reason, a football jersey and a basketball jersey to me are just so, especially basketball, it's just so cringeworthy. Like, I'm not going to take a guy serious who's wearing a basketball jersey or a football jersey. I'm just not. I'm like, no, I see you walking down the street, and I'm like, in single days, I'm like, I can't take you serious if you're wearing either one of those. I think, especially.
So if I get out of the truck to pick you up on our first date, and I've got a hoodie with a Memphis Grizzlies jersey on over it, you're
most of the time
over.
it's the biggest douchebags and tools that are wearing basketball jerseys.
I don't even own a basketball jersey.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but and I don't, I understand what you all are saying from a current versus I guess maybe a legend, but at the same time, does it matter if it's current versus, like, what's the difference in the current versus?
It matters to us.
It still is someone's, you're still wearing some guy,
well,
whether he's not
to your
playing
point,
or
to your point, I used to have my hard line was, is he dead or alive? And that's what I stuck with. If he's dead or alive, if he's dead, get his jersey. Wear that's memorabilia. That's a collectible item. If he's still alive, it's weird, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I realized that there are some things that I wanted in my possession for me to have, because I wanted to have them, because was some, and those are two jerseys that I wanted. Now, I don't plan on, it's like wearing those jerseys is different than having them. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I have it,
it's almost like you're paying them respect or something.
Homage.
Or other.
You're paying them homage. That's where I'm
paying them
homage.
Like,
I'm going to frame it and I'm going to put it on the wall, and that's going to be it. It's not, I don't have an opportunity to get them signed. It's not like I'm trying to, it's not this is just somebody, this was my favorite players when I was growing up, and this is something cool to have.
So it's like and this is more me playing devil's advocate of, if it has any person's name on the back, whether they're current or whether they're not current, they're all, still living. It doesn't matter. It's like, it's still representing somebody, whether they're current or not. So it's more just playing devil's advocate on the difference.
It ain't your name on the back. Like, why are you wearing another person's name on your back? But honestly, I still think,
because I wasn't good enough to make the team. That's why.
Obvious. None of us were.
Yeah. Girls always look cute.
Ladies can get away with everything.
Yeah.
You wear a plastic bag and it's hot. So go for it.
Jerseys.
Nick, I think you walk into St. Louis in, I think you said June or July, wearing a Yadi Molina shirt, and I'm like, or jersey, and I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, respect. You walk into the Busch Stadium wearing a Lars Nootbaar jersey, I'm like, that dude's a fucking nut.
Like,
that's the difference. That's the difference.
Alex loves Lars Nootbaar.
So do you.
We watched him play at USC together.
Fair enough. Good enough player, but
no, we're not wearing his jersey.
Yeah, you're not walking out in an O'Neal jersey, right?
No chance.
Like, I think he will look really good. Like, I'm all for him wearing the Aussie jersey. I bought him that.
Great one to pay respect to. Not Lars Nootbaar.
His parents and I split the Griffey jersey, which is a really, really nice one. So I'm like, yeah, wear that. It's very crispy, very
Seattle one?
Very good wearing it. So, and it's
you can't wear a junior. You can't wear a Ken Griffey Jr. Cincinnati jersey. That just doesn't work out, man.
No, it's a
as old, number one Mariner fan. Like, what are you doing?
It was the '84 authentic, the white with the blue and gold with the gold blue letters with the gold trim.
Good one.
That
Mitchell and Ness.
It was solid. I loved it. And then the Aussie jersey is the powder blue with the red. Bam, it's awesome. So just curious, because I'm seeing, you have a lot of debates on it, but I can't get behind the guy wearing the basketball jersey at a baseball game or wearing the the other team. Is it just like, hey, this is the only sports shirt I got, so I'm wearing it? So
sports ball. I'm going to sports ball. Let me put on my sports ball outfit.
Let me wear my sports hat. Yeah,
I'm gonna try to get as close to this mic as possible. Let's say if you're going to a Cleveland Guardians versus New York Yankees game, and you're not a Guardians or Yankees fan, no one gives a fuck. Either go in Guardians gear, Yankees gear, or fucking nobody gear, because when you walk in with a Red Sox shirt, you look like an ass clown.
I couldn't agree more. It drives me crazy.
God, I wish I could explain that to everybody. You look like a fucking buffoon.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of my biggest pet peeves. You'll watch NFL games, and I mean the team's not playing or a completely different sport, and you're like, you look like an idiot.
What's the deal with that?
Who cares?
Why do we do that? What's the
We gotta
Alex? What's
get
the
attention. Gotta
I
get
have-
attention and be seen.
I mean, I have done this once, but
Uh,
I also hold on,
All
but I
part.
did it on purpose. The year after the Seahawks destroyed the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl, their first game afterwards was in San Diego, and all my friends were either Charger fans or Denver Bronco fans. So me, as a fan of neither, I went in Super Bowl championship jersey Seahawks, but more of like just to be seen and talk shit. Like, hey, great game last
Right.
year. Not
Good
like
job,
I'm a
almost.
sports ball fan. Yeah, I got a lot of shit, but it was hilarious.
at
It
least
seems
that
to
one-
me the people that wear the Red Sox
some recency.
jersey at the Yankees game, or the guy that was in the Yankees gear at the Red Sox game,
Yeah.
only went to cause trouble.
You know me, I
didn't
was
go-
there to
they
cause trouble.
They didn't go there to be nice. They didn't go there to support both teams and hope everybody wins and goes home safe. They went there to cause problems. They went over there to kick over people's popcorn and trip the hot dog guy. They were there to be problems. And then they trying to instigate and rile those Red Sox fans up. But I got to tell you, I want to talk about Fenway Park. I want to talk about Fenway Park.
Wicked had.
PAHK.
Fenway Park. So, JJ, first of all, again, thank you so much for giving my dad and I the opportunity that you did. It
It was a
was
good time.
amazing. But one of the things that you notice about, and I don't know if this is just me, but like, there's a barrier. There's a rope. It's roped off. You're supposed to stand on the warning track that's right here. This is where you're supposed to stand, and it's very clear.
Don't touch the grass.
Right. You peasants stay behind here. Well, one of the guys that works for the Guardians was getting a picture of JJ and my dad and I, and was like, "Hey, this isn't going to work. I want to get this back in." He's like, "You guys got to go under the rope, so I can
Bum,
get
bum,
this,
bum.
so I can get a better picture." And it was something about as soon as we went under the rope and you were on the other, I was on the real side. It was like, now I felt like, oh, okay, I'm on Fenway Park. And it was like emotional. Like I'm on Fenway Park. I'm standing here. I'm right here where so much has happened in the like history of the world, like baseball. And it just like, you can feel it. Like you could feel it where before, like always, but like when I got on the other side of the rope, it's like a different energy that you could feel. And I'll never forget it. And I got to share it with my dad. And that was thanks to JJ. So that was amazing. But the park itself is kind of unique in the way that it's set up. It's been renovated a little bit here and there.
A ton.
The first night we're sitting right next to the dugout. Like I'm peeking, like I'm looking in the dugout. We're like here, boom. I can hear Tito and them talking about what they, whether or not they're going to challenge a play or not. I'm right there. It was awesome. But one of the coolest things, and I didn't realize this, and JJ had to explain this to me because I'm a little slow, was that they block off sections and they block off a street. Like you can kind of go in and out in certain areas. Like we were able to go in and go into a bar, and then we scanned back out, and they scanned our tickets back out again to go back into the street, to go across the street into the stadium.
Oh,
Like
shit.
we walk in, we go down to the field, we hang out for a minute, then we leave. The guy's like, "Yeah, it's cool. Come right back whenever you want." We leave, we go have a drink across the street. And then we go back after we have a drink when the Guardians are hitting. We go back down to the field. JJ comes down, we hang out, and we stayed in for the rest of the game.
Oh, because like it's on not Yankee Way anymore. It's like David Ortiz Drive or some shit.
Well,
But like,
the two streets, left field and right field line, now they've bike racked off and there's mags. So once you enter the street,
oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
they scan your ticket, you've entered. So like the
Yeah, you've
bullpen on the
entered.
right
Okay.
side, on the left field line side, there's a team shop, there's a bullpen. On the right field line side, it's where all the Red Sox players park. Like,
Okay, so here's one of the things, JJ. We went looking for this, and you got to help me out because you told me that inside the bullpen bar, there's a sliding door of some sort, a window that you can look into the cage. Now, what I'll tell you is that I couldn't find it. Me and my dad looked around this whole place because if the stadium is here, the street that we talked about being able to walk around on is here. The bullpen is right here. On the other
Gotta
side
explain
of that
this
street.
to the podcast. They can't see you, but good work.
Right.
Next to each other.
The bullpen, the entrance to the bullpen and the entire bar is on the opposite side of the street from the stadium. So my question to JJ is this some sort of underground tunneling system from the stadium side through the office to some sort of cage that's maybe under that street where you might be able to see it from that bar? Because I don't know how you would see it from there.
So when you come into the stadium, you're street level.
Yes.
For the tickets your first night, you go down the stairs.
Yeah.
You're below
Yes.
street level. Down below street level is actually
Right.
the clubhouse. You go up in. When you come out of the clubhouse, you're on the lower level of the concourse. You hang a left, go out the business. You're actually under the street. So if you go in the bullpen, and I have never been in the bullpen, I don't know if you're gonna have to go downstairs, hang a right. I don't know how you get there. But in our batting cage,
I'll explain it to you. If I'm standing on the street facing the bullpen entrance, you go down to the left, make a hard right, and then there's the entire side would be closest to the street is a bar. It would seem as if the entrance to that thing would be there.
that's gonna be my guess because a little window. It's gonna be probably 2 foot high by 10 foot long, and there. So we have this sliding, call it barrier, that we obviously slide closed. We don't want to see the drunk buffoons banging on the window at us. If I'm sure we'll be in Boston again sometime this lifetime, I'll have to go in and tell whoever the hitting coach is, but hey, eat this for fucking 10 minutes. I'm gonna slide this open to see how, because there's also a hidden door, which I my first time in Fenway, they're like, hey, just so you know, if you ever want to go to the bar and sneak out, you can open this door. And I peeked in the bullpen during a game. I was like, this is wild. So to digress, when you come out of the visiting clubhouse, you're on the main concourse, and they have like this. They have some pipe and drape up to pipe and drape off the weight room. So you're lifting and working out on the concourse. You continue down. There's this little door you go through, and you're in the business office. So you have regular 9 to 5 Joe Schmo sitting there pounding on keyboards. There's a little walkway, and on the back side of that is the Fenway Park batting cage. So as the game's going on, you have guys in cleats running through, especially if it's a day game. Joe Schmo's sitting there, bang, bang, bang. Oh, hey, what's going on, Hosey? It's jogging back and forth. It's unbelievable.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about this. So I'm going to give a little context to this conversation because, we kind of did just jump into it again. There is a sliding glass door of some sliding window of sorts in the visitors' batting cage that you can, if it's open, you're looking into an actual bar with actual people that are not affiliated with the team in any way, shape, or form. So the JJ was like, the first thing that our hitting coach did as soon as we get his there is he slams that door shut because it's open when he gets there.
That's crazy.
So let's talk about that. Let's plant that seed first. That there, while you're hitting batting practice, there's a bar on the side of the wall that you can hear the people inside.
It's like it's a big long plexiglass window, so you can hear the music playing.
Right.
You could look over and you're looking dead eye to dead eye, and so.
Right.
20 years ago, there's like, hey man, this is a really cool experience. And then some drunk buffoon starts screaming and motherfucking everybody for
no. I'm looking at it from the mental aspect, from the Red Sox side.
Oh,
There's
okay.
that aspect. Plus, you've got the guys having to hike in and out of the office to get to the batting cage. There's all this fuckery. You're in the concourse doing all this stuff. There's all these things that are kind of planted in there that are all mind games. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
It's just that ballpark is like 7,000 years old. I think is it the second oldest? Is Wrigley, I think, is the oldest, and Fenway is the second oldest.
The clubhouse on itself.
Fenway is the oldest ballpark in America right now. Wrigley would be 2.
Okay, it's the other way around. All right, my bad. But JJ, there's so many injuries on the Guardians. How are you not in that bullpen right now? Have they asked you to start pitching?
No, this is done. If I try to throw a pitch, my arm would come dislocated with it.
Your arm would
just
go
like
with
everyone
it.
else, just like everyone else on the team this year.
Fair enough, and not as bad as the Yankees.
Not as bad as the Yankees. Very true.
Have we lost anybody else this week?
No, we've stayed healthy. All right, we got a couple guys going to come back soon.
So when are you going to get rid of Plesac? Because he's garbage. I'm just kidding.
You can't say that.
I'm not
Honestly.
gonna-
Don't get him.
I'm not
Don't
gonna
get
ask-
him in
I'm not
trouble.
gonna ask you that
Jesus,
question.
man.
He got his ass handed to him.
He got
on
hummed
set.
in Boston pretty good with Mars
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So I was sitting right behind home plate, and I was just like,
What do you think of my guy Bobby Dahlbeck? Was he playing, or was he still in the minors when you were there?
No,
Dahlbeck wasn't playing.
Oh,
No, but really good
BT.
series, really good time. One of the things that conversation kind of made me think about when me and Kristen were talking about Gillette Stadium, right? We start to think about, we watch games on TV a lot and we don't really understand what they're talking about. When you start talking about home field advantage, talking about playing in Foxborough in January, right? Start talking about playing in Fenway in October. It gets chilly in that stadium. When the sun goes down, the wind starts whipping off of the harbor. It is wicked fucking cold out there. All right. And I'm thinking about stuff like, there's all these little things like playing out there. That wind is a little bit different. Like the fact that the one end of Gillette being open where the wind can just whip through that stadium, it's got to be,
the Miami Dolphins are in that division. Think about that.
Yes.
They're coming from South Beach in January to come.
That's an absolute home field advantage. And we always talk about, oh, it's not that big of a deal. They're professionals or this and that. Me and my dad are walking through around Gillette Stadium. We're walking through Boston's Fenway Park, and we're like feeling it, like how cold it is every time the wind like blows even the least little bit. And I'm just like, can you imagine trying to play through this in October when it's 35 degrees, or if it's in January when it's snow on the ground and it's 5 degrees? Like, it's a lot different when you actually are there and you feel it, because 50 degrees in Boston feels different than 50 degrees in Nashville. It just does.
That's the only reason I can think Buffalo is building a new stadium completely outdoors.
They're building a new stadium and it's completely outdoors.
Yeah, no roof, no retractable roof, nothing. It's completely outdoors like the new one.
That's why, because that home field advantage is an advantage.
Crazy. Yeah.
The guys in Buffalo are used to it, are prepared for it. It is, I mean, I'm telling you, man, just being there, walking around the stadium, I looked at my dad and was like, I'm glad I'm not playing tonight.
So while we were having this conversation, I went to go get a book off my shelf. And that shelf then came crashing onto the ground. But I read a book. About this.
Is everything? You're okay?
Is everybody safe?
Welcome back.
I'm fine. Nothing's broken.
Johnny is alive. Everything's good.
She came running in to make sure I was okay.
What
For
a
those
gal.
of you on the YouTube, you can see the.
Oh,
good.
nice. A little cleanup
that
job there.
Yeah.
Just a little cleanup job over there.
He went rushing for the book, and then
I went rushing for the book. It's a little taller than I am, so
Were you playing
wasn't the
Jenga?
best no.
Yeah.
But there is some super cool guys wrote a book called Scorecasting, which I should send you guys to read. And it's it's literally about,
shout out to Scorecasting,
the hidden influences, how sports are played and games are won. And they do an entire chapter based off of like home field advantage. Like, why are 299 hitters rarer than 300 hitters? Like, it's really, really cool. And they put this thing down to a science, and I don't want to ruin it all for you, but like home field advantage is really a thing.
Oh, for sure. It
So
absolutely is a thing.
So is like icing someone, like totally a thing as well. Like,
absolutely. Icing the kicker, doing all these things. But when you start to look into it and you start to see little things like, and Jared can dismiss it all he wants to, but there's some intention behind the batting cage being the visitors situation. You built the building. You're not going to build the visitors' locker room to be as cushy and as efficient and convenient as yours is. They're going to have, them going through the office to get to the batting cage that still has a window to a bar is absolutely intentional. It's 2023.
Well, and it's something that Boston, I feel like, would definitely do.
Yeah, it's a
Of all
Boston thing to
things-
do.
Of all things, there's going to be a bar. Like, that totally fits Boston too.
Yeah.
the Boston Garden is, for the longest time before they built the TD Waterhouse, the new garden, like, they had no heat in the Boston Garden, and that place was just a scorcher, and teams would go into that arena
I
and
remember
literally
that.
like
It'd be-
sweat themselves to
Yeah,
death.
they'd be dehydrated and passing out on the
Dehydrated,
side.
they'd be passing out because Boston was like, "Fuck it, we're just gonna
Yeah,
we're
keep doing it.
not turning on the AC."
We're gonna hydrate
Yeah.
better and win.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
I will say, one of my biggest memory it was when I lived up there was going to a Red Sox and Yankees game. So I worked for
the
I
best.
worked for Reebok and we got tickets, to go to the game. So the game that I happened to go to, and I mean, I, just moved up there. I'm from the South, but I appreciate sports. So, I love going and things like that. So just so happened to be Derek Jeter's last game at
Oh,
Fenway.
what?
That was the game that I had tickets to, and I was in a box. I was in a
That's
in a
cool.
suite for that
Yeah.
with Reebok, and so it was.
Pretty epic.
And when it gives me chills now, and I didn't know much about it. Like I said, I mean, next thing I had was the Braves, from Tennessee. So that's who everyone likes down south.
Did they give him a standing ovation?
And they gave him a huge standing ovation, which
That's
was
so awesome.
so cool. I mean,
Mad
just the
respect.
amount of
And-
respect. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
Red Sox and Yankees have the biggest rivalry from that standpoint, but the huge amount of, respect that he got from everyone. I mean, it erupted for him, in Fenway. So that was my Fenway, memory and experience. That was really cool. Aside from seeing
That's
Zach
awesome.
Brown band in concert there at night, that was really cool separately. But it's neat to see the camaraderie and the respect.
Yeah.
Mine, my Fenway experience, because I lived there for 4 years.
4
I lived
years.
in I lived in Hopkinton, Mass, 26.2 miles away. Wicked hard, wicked awesome.
I lived in Providence, Rhode Island. Ugh.
Oh, I loved Providence. We used to go down there. Providence was all right. We used to go to Newport all the time and climb around on the white rocks by all the
Newport
mansions.
I liked. Yes.
Yeah. But I remember my first time going to Fenway. Fucking wicked awesome. Got there. They were playing the Mariners. And it was my brother's first game. And Roger Clemens was pitching. My brother, Red Sox down by 2, bottom of the 9th. They load the bases, and Ellis Burks hits a walk-off grand slam to win the fucking game. And my brother's like, "Oh, this was fun. I would go again." Like, because he was so young, he was like 6. He was like, "Oh, this is how all baseball games are." Like, the home team comes back, hits a grand slam, Reds,
You
Yeah.
should have kept
Roger-
the Boston going, dude.
Roger pitches the whole time. Yeah,
I'll be honest, I almost didn't
Roger throws
understand
a gem.
anything you said with that accent.
there it
I'm just
is.
Yeah.
But when I lived in Boston, they sucked. This was the Mo Vaughn era. Mo Vaughn, Phil Plantier, Mike Greenwell, Ellis Burks, Tom Bernansky, like Tony Pena was the catcher. Like this was
the memory on this guy.
You had the
Yeah.
backside of Ellis Burks because he had some good years.
yeah.
Hey, I'll say this about
they were
Boston. It
bad.
gets a bad rap for a lot of times because people assume that because they're so passionate with their sports and some of their guys they're so opinionated, like one-sided. Like you're not gonna change their mind. Like the Red Sox, the Celtics, the Patriots, the Bruins, they're the best that's ever lived, and it's not close. And there's nothing you can do to argue against it. It's just facts, okay? And that's the way they feel. And a lot of people are like, Boston people are mean and assholes. I'm like, actually, they were pretty freaking awesome. They were really
Passionate.
nice. I mean, guys, I'm walking down the street, the security guard outside the store is, "Hey, how are you?" And he says, "Good, how are you?" I mean, you're not getting that in New York. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
let's
come to
be
Yankee
honest.
Stadium
Like,
one time. Fucking assholes.
I was very happy I'm happy to say that everybody I encountered in Boston was a joy to be around. They were super nice,
Wow.
very welcoming. I loved every second that I had in that town. I would go back in a minute, except for the fact that we were stowed up in an airport for 9 hours because a cloud dropped on the city and everything was ground stop. JJ was able to play an entire Major League Baseball game, shuttle to the airport, load a plane, fly that plane to LaGuardia, unload that plane, and drive to the fucking hotel before I even got on one.
Honest to God's truth there.
I was amazed. he's got this United guy. He's like, yeah, there's ground stops all over the place. He's like, my plane's in New York. I don't know how I'm going to get it here. I was like, I don't know either. Next thing you know, he's like, it'll be here in an hour. I'm like, what? I'm sitting here with all these people. And I got to be honest with watching people who flights are being delayed and they're realizing that they're going to miss their connection because it's obviously they baby step it. They do this shit where they go 45-minute delay, 45-minute delay, 40. And you start to creep into that. Oh, I'm about to miss my connection. And then you've got to start rebooking. Now the line is 72 people deep down the hall from every counter. And you're just watching like all the stuff going on. And people start to behave kind of interestingly when they're put in stressful situations. You see a lot of stressful drinkers, a lot of people getting drunk and passing out. I saw 2 people not get on their plane when it finally came because they were passed out and they wouldn't let them on the plane. Like there's a lot of stuff going on, but Nashville's got this new thing that I think is sweet. They got these little suites that you can rent. It's got like a little shower, a little sink in there, a little cot. You can go in there and kill the lights, take a little nap.
Little boom boom room.
Tiger
I don't know if they're going to allow all that, but like it's a one person. You give them your credit card and go in there. I don't know that it's a, hey, me and the wife are going to go in here and knock one out.
Me and the lady I just met at the bar.
Hey, you throw them a 20. Anything's possible.
Yeah, there's going to be some hooker's going to just go buy a $99 one-way ticket, Southwest ticket, and just hang out at the bar all day. I got a room for 65 cents an hour. Come on. No, but awesome idea. Like reality, like you get in a situation like that where you're there for like 9 hours. You're like, man, I would love to go just lay down and take a nap. I was like, they're coming up with everything. But
that's cool.
JJ, when you talk about Boston being one of your favorite trips, every year, but I'm curious as to what I want to know is how many lobster rolls did you actually eat?
Oh, what are the
because you were getting them catered in, so you got lobster rolls and clam chowder coming in by the bucket every day.
So we got it Friday, Saturday, Sundays when we played. I told Nick Saturday night, I said, I don't think I've eaten anything. I know I hadn't eaten anything. At that point, I hadn't clam chowder or lobster rolls. I'm gonna go with 7 in 3 days on lobster rolls. I'm gonna say, clam chowder.
7. How big are these? Are these the half pound?
They're just a little roll. Yeah, the half rolls.
Okay, so it's not a half pound. A half pound is like this big.
No, so I mean the quarter then.
Okay.
1, 2,
still a lot.
3, 4, 7 lobster rolls, 5 bowls of clam chowder.
Where'd you guys get your?
And I don't think
was it all catered from Legal?
I'll be dead ass. I don't think I had any other food when I was there. No, so that we went to Dylan's. That was the clam chowder. I had a Sheraton clam chowder. I had a.
But Legal was catered into the clubhouse.
Yeah. Legal is phenomenal.
That's my go-to.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
Legal was the first lobster roll I had. I loved it. I went traditional. The first one I got the traditional one, and I think I'll try. Kristen likes the warm one a little bit better, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's something about just lobster being served cold. I also don't like shrimp cocktail. It's like something about
Neither
fish, raw fish being served cold like that. I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I'm also now crab cakes has been added to list. And here's why. So as Nick mentioned, we couldn't get a plane into Boston or wait. There's a ground stop because I'll go a little bit flight talk here. So most airlines, United, Delta, Southwest, have to have a half mile of visibility. So because the clouds are so low, they wouldn't land. So finally they're lifted because we're a charter. We got shot to the front priority list. So they got in. And they said, hey, it's going to be an issue getting out with, when we get out, it's going to be an issue having any service because it's going to be choppy. We're going through a storm. So like, we're going to do one quick run of food. And so they go back and they get burgers. All these guys grab the burgers. They have chicken tenders. All the guys get chicken tenders. So get back to the front. And I was like, hey, I said, Terry, who's our lead flight, I said, I'm about to eat my fucking hand. I skipped the post-game spread because we had a lot of stuff going on. What do you have that's hot and ready to eat? She said, I've got these United crab cakes. I said, if it's hot, it's for me. So I huffed these 2 crab cakes down. And then I proceeded to hit the next 35 minutes of choppiest 35 minutes that I had. And I was absolute green. And as soon as I got on the bus, I was saving a route from the moment we landed through the bus, through the check-in, and I came up and went straight to bed because I was like, I'm going to paint the wall of something if I have any sort of movement. So crab cakes is now on the list because I had them post-game yesterday.
It's on the no-fly zone.
But it's crab cakes that you had on an airplane, and then if you're in Baltimore where they do crab cakes the best, you got to go to the Chesapeake Bay Company and get you some.
Great. I will admit the United Airlines crab cakes tasted like what I assume stuffing inside a wall tastes like. It was zero flavor, a little chalky.
Oh my God.
Sounds about right.
Dude, that is your crazy ass analogies is a perfect segue into our favorite segment. Let's do it. Shower thoughts with JJ.
Shower thoughts with JJ.
So when do you decide it's time to replace your underwear? Kids today have no idea what the grind that dial-up internet is. They're there to cradle my taters. So until they're not cradling my taters, I'm rocking with them. They're holding my tater sacks. That's when it's time for underwear replacement. Showed a little side booth, put a computer in the family room and watch that kid's road to adversity. Vagina stories. Hey, what's it? Put her out. And I scooted. She woke up to me with my hand in a bag of Cheetos. I was stumbling and bumbling. 2 tall boys, you get a shot.
You got to stop pooping your pants.
And I trusted a fart and lost. Downward thoughts. Let's go. It actually segues perfect because this last one comes from Boston. So I'm in Boston. This is Saturday night, having a couple pops. I go down to the bathroom, right? So I'm standing there at the urinal. There's 3 urinals next to me. And I happen to hammer home a fart. And I don't mean like just a little fur. I mean, it was like, had a little bite on it. So these 2 dudes next to me turn and they make dead eye contact. And I can see what they're saying. They're like, fuck you, I hate you, I'm mad at you. Which made me think, like, if you're mad at me for farting in the bathroom, when is a fart acceptable? Because to me, a fart is an ass burp, all right? And I can be sitting in work and go, and everybody's like, oh, excuse me, God bless you. And you just tap your chest. Oh, sorry, it's lunch. But why can't I fart? I wait
a minute. Who's saying God bless you after a burp?
Oh, God bless you. And you're like, come on now.
That's a sneeze, bro.
It's different
Maybe
in
he's
Cleveland,
around
man.
really nice people.
All right. So you burp in the office and everybody's cool.
And everybody's fine. It's no big deal. You burp in church. Nobody cares. You burp in a fucking funeral for all it matters. Nobody cares. You're sitting there, you're like, the Father, Son, Holy Ghost, and you're like, oh, it is what it is. You got a little, the coffee must be barking back. So nobody cares, but you toast a fart, and everybody's mad, even in the bathroom. I don't.
Toast a fart.
Farts should be always universally acceptable. If anything, it should be funny and add humor to the day. And I don't understand why people aren't on board with this right now. So
I agree, though. I mean, you're doing it in the bathroom. Where else are you supposed to do it?
It's the most safest place to fart is the bathroom. Like that's the place to go to fart.
Like if I'm sitting,
whether you're standing or sitting.
If I'm sitting and there's somebody saddles up stall next to me, and they sit down and they have a couple of toots. Maybe they're having a growler, whatever. If they sat down in public to have that situation, they're gonna have to enjoy me giggling about it. Because I'm not upset with them. I'm not like, oh my God.
I wait till somebody else does it, and then I go right after it.
Yeah. Do you ever get a commentary? Because I definitely do.
Yeah, I'm like, good push, bro.
I'll go, nice.
I will try to respond back, but only with my ass. So if like I hear one, I'll try to get it. Yeah.
Battle farts.
Try to battle shit right there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, Joe JJ. You're giving burps a carte blanche, and I got to be honest. With all the traveling that we've been doing, the burp on the plane from the guy who's been drinking and eating appetizers for 3 hours at his layover, who's doing these little, and there's no God bless you.
Nobody's ever God blessed a burp.
Nobody's God blessed. Yeah, first of all, nobody's saying that. But these are these little ones that like make everybody around you kind of look. You can tell the guy in front of you kind of smelled it because his head kind of goes. Like, what is that?
I'd truthfully rather fart. I would.
Yeah,
Would you really?
Well, it depends. Now, but when I got home from Boston, I polluted this house, and it was, and everybody says, "Oh, everybody likes their own brand." Not this brand. This was my mom wouldn't love me with it. Like this was bad. This was
like
this was kick you out of the house. Maybe you should go back to Boston. Kind of like
Oh
pollution.
wow!
I was like,
brought
what did
those-
you eat?
Now, in
Those
that
Boston baked
situation,
beans.
in that situation, she probably would have loved a mouth farty instead of the toxic shit that I was leaking out of my ass. But most of the time, burps are more offensive than a fart to me. Like a burp has got like it's a little bit more like, it's not something that you're used to. It smells like a specific
at
food.
mouth level too.
It's hitting you. Yeah, it's right at eye level, so it's hitting you right in the.
Yeah, but you can excuse yourself after you like burp.
Oh, my bad.
If you
Excuse me.
fart, your first thought is it wasn't.
Did I
me.
shit?
No. Well, that's JJ's first thought. Everyone else is like, I'm gonna try to hide it. We're in a group of 5. They have no idea this was me.
Well, if I'm on a plane, I'll be first one to tell you that if I'm on a plane and I gotta let one.
Oh, there's more people fart in the air than on the ground.
Anywhere else.
In a
So
plane.
the
Like,
question
300
was
farts
where is it acceptable to fart? Because they
on
got
a
mad at you
plane.
in the bathroom, but on an airplane,
That's what he
let
said.
that baby go.
I agree.
They can't hear you. They can't.
I don't think
smell
there's
it.
anywhere that's not acceptable to fart anymore. If you're going to be mad at me in the bathroom, which is supposed to be the one holy grail, be like, oh, like if you fart in a meeting, they're like, oh, you could have went to the bathroom.
Okay.
You know what?
I got one place. I got a place that it wasn't acceptable. So my dad and I were hiking the Freedom Trail in Boston. And we hiked
Revere.
from the Boston Common Park all the way to Paul Revere's house. And then we took an Uber to Bunker Hill. We hike up
love
Bunker Hill. We look at all the monuments. The guy, at this point, we've probably walked 16 or 17,000 steps. And you can tell that's a lot of steps for your boy. So we walk in, and I just wanted to go read a couple of plaques, maybe take a picture of something cool, maybe read something that, maybe get a drawing at a Bunker Hill or whatever they say. And the guy's like, hey, man, you want to climb it? We're talking about the monument, the massive monument. He said, you want to climb it? And I'm like, climb it? What are you talking about? He says, yeah, there's a spiral staircase, 294 steps. You can get up to the top, and it's a viewing. There's windows. You can look at views of the city. So I look at my dad, and he's like, you want to do it? And he's got the look on his face like, absolutely not. I do not want to do this. And in my heart of hearts, I didn't want to do it either. But I was like, Dad, you want to do this? And he was like, do you? And I was like, yep, let's go. And so we get in line. Yeah, we get in line, and about 50 steps in, I realized that we've made a mistake.
Uh-oh.
It is a concrete medieval spiral staircase to where they've got the princess, and
Rapunzel must be up there.
yeah, something. And what was up there? An artificial electronic defibrillator, an AED was up there, or whatever the AED stands for.
That's spot on.
That's what was up at the top, because you might need it. I mean, we literally at 50 steps, I looked at my dad. I was like, you sure about this? And he was like, are you?
We paid for it.
And again, I was like, no, but we went anyways. And I tell a long walk for a short drink of water. I apologize. So tell all of that to say this. We get about 3/4 of the way up, and I am sweating. My ass is trembling. My calves are burning. My lungs are hating me. My dad's 10 steps behind me. And all of a sudden, whoever was in front of us had dropped a fucking banana peel in Mario Kart. And we walked through a stink cloud. And all of a sudden, I'm exhausted and I can't breathe. I'm like, somebody crowd dusted us. I'm like, they're dropping bombs on us, Dad. And he can't smell it. He's too far behind me. So he's like, he walks a couple more steps. He's like, oh, I can smell it. Oh. And I'm like, it gets worse up here. And as we get, and of course, we're in a concrete spiral staircase. So
it's going nowhere.
No, it's not going anywhere. But the person who did it can hear us yelling about it. It's echoey. Like you can hear people in the bottom. Like you can hear them talking like this. But I'm yelling and screaming like, oh, it's so bad. Like, it's terrible. Who would do this to us? Yeah, like white flag, like make it stop. And then we get up to the top, and it's like this dad and his daughter, and I'm like, it was definitely dear old dad.
Hey.
Dear old dad got tired and leaked one.
Girl, you don't know.
Hey, she might have let one too. You never know. She had a lot more energy. Maybe she just needed a boost. But I tell you what, that was an inappropriate place to fart.
Yeah.
She should have.
Agreed.
She should have done it. What she should have done it outside. There was nowhere for it to go, and we almost died because of it.
Bunker Hill
thing.
And then you should have seen us walking back down the hill after we came out of that stupid thing. Our legs were all fun. It looked like one of those cartoons because our legs were like shaking from the, because we don't work out like that. So our calves were shaking. We're trying to walk down the hill. We looked like idiots. I had to go sit down we went and saw old USS Constitution, old Ironsides, and I went and sat down. Everybody else was walking around looking at the cannons. I was like, I don't need to see the cannons. I'm going to sit right here and wait for my Uber.
Don't shoot until you see the whites of their eyes. Bunker Hill. Good shit.
Thing. Yeah. Really cool history in Boston. A lot of cool stuff to go do. We're definitely going to go back, and we're going to do a lot of deeper dive on some of the things that we got to see, and go see some other stuff. I didn't realize how many things are so close to Boston with Salem, Plymouth Rock. There's just so much history there and so many things to see. We felt like we saw a ton of stuff, and we still feel like there was probably a million things that we could have went and done. So, JJ, again, dude, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for giving my dad and I a gift that we could have never dreamed of being any better. Alex, thanks for joining us. I love you, man. I'm glad you're feeling better. Glad you're shaking the COVIDs. Woo! And we're sure glad to have her as official Mars. So welcome to the family, baby. And,
Mars.
we are so glad that you guys joined us. We are happy as always that you're here. Until next time, be good, be well. We love you big. StacheCast out.
Take me on your UFO. Yeah, on your UFO. I've been on some other shit, just lost my fucking brother shit. Now I think it's time to beam myself back to the mothership. J-Rock is my co-pilot, that's the one that I hover with. Love the way we stubborn, like we rule our own government. We come through so thunderous, like everybody